They arrived at court flanked by their supporters, defiant in the face of a crackdown on the movement they have represented for decades. These are some of Hong Kong's most high-profile veteran activists, including 82-year-old Martin Lee, who is known as the father of democracy in the territory.
So many of my brothers and sisters are already in prison. I would consider it a badge of honour.
Lee is one of 9 people who were found guilty of organising and participating in an unauthorised assembly in August 2019 during the anti-government demonstrations. The rally was given police approval, but this group was accused of leading protesters out of the designated area into central Hong Kong. Veteran activist Lee Cheuk-yan says peaceful protests are not a crime, and these charges are Beijing's attempt to silence its critics.
I think it's inevitable that we in such a political environment of suppression and retaliation that we have to go to jail to pay the price.
Media tycoon Jimmy Lai, as well as barrister and former councillor Margaret Ng, were also convicted and face up to 5 years in prison. This group of pro-Beijing supporters rallying outside the court wants a tougher penalty.
They are traitor. This is treason. So today we have witnessed the traitor to be sentenced, life sentence.
This is a major blow to the democracy movement. Nearly every major voice of dissent in Hong Kong is either in exile, on trial, or already behind bars. More than 2,400 people have been charged as part of this crackdown, and police haven't ruled out more arrests. Even so, the pro-democracy activists say they won't give up.
The game is not over. We will continue to fight. Of course, we don't want to see rivers of blood in Hong Kong. We want to do it in a peaceful and non-violent way. But we will carry on.
At least 3 in this group will be back in court on trial for other charges. The court is expected to hand down its sentence on this case later this month. Sarah Clarke, Al Jazeera, Hong Kong.
Let's now speak to Nathan Law, who's a prominent pro-democracy activist living in exile in London. He's joining us from there. Thanks very much for speaking to us on Al Jazeera. You must be very displeased with this decision. How big a blow is this for the pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong?
So this case definitely shows another round of crackdowns on Hong Kong's prominent activists. And if you look at all the prominent activists in Hong Kong, they're either being trialed, jailed, or in exile. It really shows that the crackdowns on Hong Kong's liberties and freedoms are all rounded, and every one of us are experiencing it.
Right. So what impact is this going to have on your movements going forward?
So there have already been numerous rounds of political persecution. And I think the people now, they are aware that the court has been used as a legal weapon to prosecute democratic activists. And for us, it's like a winter storm that we may lay low, and we are emerging in a low tide of democratic movement. But I think it's just social movement has its own cycle. I think for now, people will tend to be resisting in a much covert way. But when the time comes, the people will uprise again.
What do you mean when you say in a more covert way?
So for now, rallies are being banned. People are not allowed to speak what their political stance is, because that could possibly be seen as breaching the national security law. So people turn into a more economic way, building up economic circle that benefits the protests and protesters, going to back-end work, supporting people in jail, and also doing it with a cultural form. These are more covert way that they can express their opinion.
What do you make of the response of the international community so far? China will no doubt be pleased with this decision to sentence the activists to jail. But what about countries like the U.S.? Some say it has sort of taken a harsher approach to China than many had expected. Do you agree with that assessment?
Undoubtedly, imprisoning political activists in Hong Kong is one of the tactics China deployed to quash the democratic movement. And I think that the international community should respond as assertive as possible, including sanctioning Hong Kong officials who are responsible for these crackdowns. And I think the U.S. has been adopting a very tough China policy, which is actually a good direction to curb its authoritarian expansionist influence. But for the other alliance, which share the same values, which are democracies, they should step up their measures and to sanctions all those human rights violators in the region.
Nathan Law, we thank you so much for speaking to us on Al Jazeera.
Thank you so much.